Hey guys, it's Tara.
And it's Mackenzie, and welcome back to
Talk More Print.
So hey guys, we have a very special guest this episode. She's the newest faculty member of our program.
And we're very excited to share her with you guys. She's been great.
Yep, she started this fall, but she has a really cool background in this industry and what she's going to be doing in the future. So we're going to let her introduce herself.
Hello. So my name is Amela O'Gorman. And first, I want to start by saying that English is my second language. So if you hear me pause or stumble, just know that it's my brain just processing things. I wanted to get that out there just when we get started.
Yeah.
So my family and I immigrated to the U.S. from Croatia in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And I grew up in Detroit. And I wanted to start with that background because it's important to who I am and how I approach things and how I look at the world.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually, after I think I was about 9 when I moved here.
Oh, wow.
Yep. So I didn't speak any English.
Oh.
No English whatsoever. But afterwards, my family and I moved to the suburbs of Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
I went to high school and I found a high school graphic arts class, and that's kind of how I got started in this industry. But eventually I came to Ferris and got my graphic communications degree.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had some really great opportunities to work with some amazing companies along the way.
That's awesome. I can't imagine trying to learn English. Like, it being my first language, I feel like it's so much easier. But, like, after learning Spanish, it's like trying to figure out how people learn English. That's so hard.
No,
it's such a hard language.
I know so many people growing up who English was not their first language.
Mm-hmm,
and
me too.
The way that their brain works is so impressive. That's really, because last weekend, you weren't there. I got to actually hear her speak to her mother in her first language, and that was so cool. So you said you started at a tech center, which sounds pretty familiar to our story.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
What really sparked your interest in getting into going to that class that you were taking at the tech center to then go to Ferris?
So, I took that high school graphic arts class, and that's really where it started. And my teacher was very involved in Michigan's technical education community and really encouraged us to enter all of these different competitions. And I'm a pretty humble person, so I'll just say that I did pretty well in those. And the first time when I did pretty well in those, it felt like, wow, I'm actually kind of good at something.
Yeah.
And so that's where it started. And I've always loved design and creating things, but I knew that I wasn't going to be that top star designer.
Yeah.
The design world, as you both know it, is very competitive.
Oh, for sure.
And I didn't want to struggle.
Yeah.
So I knew I wanted a career that was both rewarding and sustainable. And print is everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that kind of seemed like a solid foundation, a solid path forward.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
That's awesome.
And my teacher also promoted Ferris.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of how I learned about Ferris.
Yeah.
And then, you Google and research other graphic communication schools, and RIT was on the list, and
Yeah.
Clemson was on the list.
Yeah.
And I did apply to RIT, but the tuition was just so expensive.
Yeah.
Out-of-state tuition.
Yeah.
It kills you.
I
Yep.
just could not do it. My parents could not afford to pay for my schooling either, so I'm super appreciative of all of the scholarship opportunities that
There's
we have.
so many.
Yeah, PGSF especially.
Yeah, for sure.
Shout out to them.
Yeah. We both have that scholarship now, too,
Yep.
and that's been a big reason that the financial burden has been alleviated, so that's been awesome.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, I remember when you first came in to give your little practice presentation, and that was definitely our first impression.
Mm-hmm.
And I enjoyed the presentation a ton, and I remember Pat and Kanati asking us about it, and we were like, yes. We can tell right away that she's gonna fit
be
in.
A good fit.
She's gonna fit in here. And so we were just kind of curious what excited you most about getting the opportunity to teach us as the next generation of print, print and media professionals, and why you chose this career path?
So I've thought a little bit about this over the last couple of days. And I think what really excites me is seeing the world of graphic media through your lens. Mm-hmm. Everybody sees things differently. And it's a joy to be part of that journey with you all. Mm-hmm. Just watching you grow and explore and figure out what you want to be and what you want to do. It means a lot to me that I'm part of that. And I also love that our field is constantly changing. Mm-hmm. It's changed since I graduated from Ferris 15 years ago. For sure. And, fortunately for me, I've gotten to experience a lot of different change management initiatives out in industry. And what I'm really excited about it is that I get to explore those new technologies in the classroom with all of you and see your reaction to it and see that, okay, maybe this might be the next trend in print or where it's going, or, maybe this was just a now moment.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, just wait till you see us at Discoop.
Oh,
You will see the print nerd come out real fast. And I think that's going to be a really cool shared experience for all of us.
I know, we're all really excited.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that too. It's been a while since I've been to a print conference. And that's the other part that's really exciting, is I get to kind of go back to doing that and experiencing the latest and greatest. Yeah. In industry, things change, but they don't change as quickly as you see them at these trade shows.
Yes. No, and it's kind of fun to see too, is because it's like, the latest and greatest of now, but everybody's also so excited to share where they think their company's going, what their technology is going to be used for. So it's kind of fun to see where they all think the future of print's heading to.
Yeah.
Plus, we get to learn a lot too. I mean, we learn. There's only so much that we can learn in a classroom. Mm-hmm. Like, we're learning so much, and you guys have done such a great job. But then we get to go to the shows where they're showing us the actual presses and the newest and, like you said, the latest and greatest, and how they actually work, and we get to see it. Because I think especially all of us are very visual, tactical learners. So it's kind of bridging the gap that we get to kind of experience that.
Which I know we talk a lot about on here, but it's so important.
It's so
important. I mean, just seeing the application, it just helps so much.
Yeah. And actually, I kind of want to go back to a little bit more about my background, intro question. Mm-hmm. So after I graduated from Ferris, I went to work for Quad in their corporate trainee program. And that was a really, really great experience because I got to rotate around through different departments and experience all of the different job roles. And that experience was kind of what sparked my interest in training and development because at that time Quad was growing through acquisitions and there was a need for standardization and training and everybody kind of did things differently. I got to see that people learn at different paces, learn in different ways, and that's what kind of led me to pursue a master's degree in instructional design and technology. Mm-hmm. It was kind of related to print in an offshoot branch kind of way, but learning and development has been a passion of mine, and eventually I got to be kind of like a corporate instructional designer trainer role at Quad, working in their customer experience department, and I learned a lot. But then COVID hit. And like many other industries, the print industry, took a hit. And I faced a lot of uncertainty. Mm-hmm. And so customers were canceling jobs, the whole industry slowed down. And I stepped away from print for a little while, and I worked for Rogers Behavioral Health. Mm-hmm. And that part of my background is really unique, too, because Rogers focuses a lot on behavioral health, mental health, and wellness. And really learning that compassion and empathy also helps a lot with when you're working with students, because you don't know what is going on in their life, and just having that empathy.
It's a very important skill to have, for sure.
Yeah. But then, Pat Klarecki called me one day and he said he was retiring and there's an opportunity at Ferris. And, change is hard on everybody. There's a lot of different decisions you have to make to take the opportunity, and you've got to do what's right for you. And I just felt like it was the right time, the right fit. And now here I am back kind of where it all started. And
Full circle.
Full circle. I love that. It's crazy where life takes you.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, because I never saw myself here.
No.
I mean, I was going into criminal justice, and I was pretty sold on that. And for a while there, like a Spanish teacher.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've been all over the board, but
Same.
I'm glad I landed here for
I wanted
sure.
to be a lawyer for a long time, and I don't know. No. And then, somebody told me, you know how much school that is? And I said, no, thank you.
Yeah. I was a veterinarian for a while, and then, I've kind of discovered that I don't do needles.
Oh.
So that's kind of a big one.
Oh,
I
no.
was also big into archaeology for a while.
That tracks.
Yeah.
That tracks.
And architecture, engineering. Yeah, I've been all over. But this industry is so...
Everybody has their own story, and I love it.
Like,
It's so fun.
There's always a place for you in this industry. Like, it doesn't matter what you're interested in.
Oh, no.
Like, there's always something. Like,
Yep.
architecture, I could use that in packaging design
Yeah.
if it's something that I really wanted to do. Like, there's something out there for everybody.
Yeah, you can definitely connect a lot of different skills that we learn here to other industries as well.
All right, this one is actually a question I'm really curious to hear. We were wondering what's one piece of advice that you were given early on in your career that's stuck with you and maybe something you still think about?
So I actually have two really important pieces of advice.
I like it.
And I've learned this when I was in college, when I was doing my world skills training. So I'll share a little bit of a story. So the first one came from Paul Kavanaugh at Heidelberg.
Oh.
And at the time, Paul, and I'm going to butcher his title, but I believe he was a manager for their field service techs. So he hired all of them. He managed them. He was a really great mentor of mine, and we kind of bonded over shared interest of cars and motorcycles. So my boyfriend at the time, who's now my husband, is also a big car and motorcycle guy. So anyways, something that Paul would talk with me, take time out of his day to, check in on me and see how I was doing and be that mentorship role that I needed at the time.
Yeah.
And one thing that he told me was, find something you're good at and stick with it. And I think about this a lot. It's simple advice, but it's stuck with me through every career twist and churn. Is this something you're good at? Okay, let's stick with it. If it's not, then, hand it off to somebody else. Don't be afraid to say no. That's the other thing that, I struggle with. I want to do everything, but I realize that I can't do it all. So that was the first piece of advice. Find something you're good at and stick with it.
That's good. That's like finding your skill, because everybody's good at their own thing, and that's the whole point of having a team.
Yes, exactly.
You can't do it all.
No, you can't.
And some people want to do it all.
It helped me kind of hone in where I wanted to be within print as well. I liked training and development. I realized that there's a whole world out there on education. And doing that end of the business. So it kind of helped me hone in on that. I found what I was good at, and I stuck with it.
Yeah, no, that's good. I like that.
And then the second piece of advice came from Jerry at Gilson Graphics.
Okay.
He was a press operator, and he was like a father figure to me during that summer. He would share his lunch with me, always share words of wisdom, talk about life in general. And before I went on for the competition, he said to me, "You can do anything with nothing." So it might sound strange, but that phrase has a deep-rooted meaning, and it reminds me that when things feel impossible, your drive and determination is what pushes you forward. So as long as you just try, you're winning.
Yeah.
So that you can do anything with nothing is a immediate confidence boost. And I tell
Yeah.
my daughters this a lot too.
Yeah.
You can do anything with nothing. If they're struggling, if there's tears, you can do anything with nothing.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
that is a good one.
I like
I've never
that.
heard
I've never either.
anything like that before.
No.
Yeah, those two pieces of advice stuck with me, and they're still with me.
Yeah, they make you think.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Definitely.
they do.
Yep.
And it's something that like in so many situations you can use too. It's
Yeah.
not just it's like a very specific, like you can do it, or I don't know.
It's kind of
It's
like
not specific.
it's kind of like a you can do it, but the with nothing
Yeah.
means if you're like it's impossible.
Yeah.
As long as you just try, you're
Yeah.
winning.
Yeah.
You're doing something. Yeah.
Yep.
No, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we're obviously super excited to have you not only on this podcast but at Ferris with us. But we've had conversations about this before, and I have a feeling there's probably more than one. But what do you like? What's your big thing that you really want to achieve while you're here?
So
I know, it's kind of a big question.
It's a big
yeah,
question.
it's a big
It's a
question.
big question.
Yeah. I've got a lot of big ideas, but I'm gonna try and keep myself grounded and what is realistic and what can I realistically accomplish.
Yes.
But my biggest goal is to really help the graphic media management program grow and attract more students and build stronger industry partnerships. I think that's really important.
Yes.
They're going to tell us, what we need in our program and what skills they want to see
Yeah.
for that future generation.
For sure.
Yes.
And I'm already really excited about it because there's been a company called lob.com, and I don't know if I'm mispronouncing their name or not, but they are a marketing company that does direct mail.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at their website, they seem really innovative. And I'm really excited for them to come visit us this fall and,
Yep.
Introduce all the students to them and see, how we can partner with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's exciting. I mean, recruiting is always something that's been important
Big
to
for
us too.
us.
Like just seeing this program grow, because we are a great program. People just don't know we're here,
Yes.
and that's like our biggest struggle. Because everyone that's come through, they love our program. We have a great program. It's just how do we get that out there that we're here, and it's not something that's gonna go away anytime soon. Because I mean, it's kind of for us to be like, yeah, we're leaving, and we're hoping that there's enough people
to take it over.
to take over.
Yeah.
It's kind of something that we've been thinking about for a while. And
We've been thinking about that, I feel like, since we got here.
yeah,
We fell in love with the program. We fell in love with the industry. We fell in love with everything about it. People just don't know about it. And that's the biggest struggle. And the amount of conversations I have with people, and they're like, oh, what are you studying? And I'll be like, oh, printing. And they're like, huh?
yeah,
I'm like, so, like, when you go to the grocery store, everything gets print. Like, it's those conversations where if a lot of people just don't have their eyes open to it,
yeah,
and it's some of the times it's the most annoying conversation, but sometimes it's my favorite conversation.
because we're just like so behind the scenes, and it's like bringing it back up to being like making everyone aware this is what print is. It's not any one thing.
Yeah, and I think, part of the beauty of our program is we are in the College of Business.
Yep.
So we do teach a lot of those business skill sets.
Yes.
Me coming from industry, I can bring a lot of those ideas and real life examples to the
Yes.
classroom.
Yes.
Which we appreciate.
Yes. It's been great. I need examples
I
because it's like
do.
I can memorize all the definitions and whatever, but how do you apply
How
it?
do
And
I
those
apply
stories are so important for
Yeah,
that.
I mean, I've seen a lot of different things, and you might think, oh, that'll never happen. Yes, yes, it does. Yes, it does. But it's really interesting that we're in a College of Business, and you mentioned people don't know that we're here. Part of my goal is to also bring more social media and awareness to the
Yeah.
program.
Yeah.
Maybe have some short videos about our program,
Yep.
and make people realize that although we're not design,
Yes.
we do still have a little bit of that, creativity in our
Yep.
program. You get to work on your own projects and see them through the production aspect
Yeah,
of it.
for sure. It's so fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when, this is an analogy I've used before, it's when we use this at GPC, when left brain meets right brain, because you're using your creativity side, but you're also using a very like analytical aspect of your brain too.
Yeah.
So you get to use everything that you have, and it's something that's very niche, I feel like, in a lot of it, like not a lot of industries can say you're using all aspects of your brain to
Well, and it's just so truly an industry for everybody, because there are those people who are more left-brained or more right-brained, and there's positions where you are using more your right brain, more your left brain, or both. You know, it's definitely an important industry to have.
Yeah, and it's huge. It's not just packaging. It's not just publishing. There's a lot out there. If you go to a grocery store, almost everything is printed.
Yes, we use that analogy a lot.
Yeah, we say that when we're recruiting. We're like, imagine going into a grocery store and everything's white. Everything's blank. How would you know what price something is? How would you know what's in it? How would you know?
How would you know if you're allergic to something within like an ingredient?
If there was an ingredient that you were allergic to.
Or like when you go to a restaurant and you don't know what you can eat, like you have no options actually. You get what they give you.
Or your values too, you know, not tested on animals.
Yes. Yeah. That's a big thing. If it's sustainably you can recycle it. It was sustainably printed. Like all of these things.
It's just such a different way to think about things.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so I guess we're going to kind of follow up on that last question. We're going to get a little more specific here. We were wondering where do you see the graphic media management program heading in the next 4 years, and how are you hoping to contribute?
That is a big question. The future can seem a little bit uncertain.
Yes.
And things change really, really quickly, especially in higher ed and the print industry.
For sure.
But I'd like to see us grow. I'd really like to see our program grow, not just in numbers, but how we connect to the industry.
Yes.
People have heard the big names, Cal Poly, RIT, and Clemson. But not a lot of people say Ferris. We have a lot of really great grads out in the industry, but again, our program has not had that same impact as Cal Poly, Clemson, RIT. So I want to bring that Ferris name out there in our industry.
Yeah, for sure. I know we've recently kind of run into that, and we've been saying now we may be small, but we are mighty.
Yes.
I mean, we're definitely a smaller program, but we are big in passion and big in skills. And
I think even with like everyone in there is, we, like you said, we have all that passion and we are working to make that impact. Like it's not a institutional thing of Ferris is pushing this, where Ferris is doing all of it. It's the students within there have the thrive and the energy and the excitement, and they're getting the word out there. Because I mean, it's not just us. We have a whole amazing team that's been working on, like, the last few years that's been working on doing this, and even alumni that have been doing it. So, and that I feel like is a lot different than more of like the institutional push that I feel like some of the bigger schools are doing too.
And I guess kind of bring it back to full circle. I know we mentioned earlier how we just knew that you were going to be a good fit, and we all clearly we have very similar passions and values here. It's something that we all know this industry needs, and it's a good thing to have.
Yeah, there was a debrief after your interview and your test lecture, and it was so Kanati sits down. He goes, "So what do we think?" We're like, "Yes, please.
Yes.
Can we get her?
Yes,
please.
Now,
please." We like put in our notes. We're like, "She's awesome. Please hire her."
Yes. We've been very excited to have you, and I think everything that you've done so far, even, I know we keep talking about the future, but already you've made a pretty big impact, and we appreciate that.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Of course.
Yeah, I wish I could have been here sooner, but it would have worked out better if it was a couple of years sooner, because the housing market is crazy right now.
Well, and not to mention all that knowledge you've got to learn from the professors. That's a lot to take on.
It's a lot. Pat's got a lot in his head.
He does.
He does. Yeah. And I'm glad that I was able to kind of look at some of that and be like, oh, okay, we should do a Gemba walk at Starbucks. So I think that'll be more meaningful than listening to me talk about this concept. Let's just do a Gemba.
Yes. Yes. See, it's just some of those outside of the box things and that we need to shake things up sometimes because you kind of get so stuck in doing things the same way.
Our favorite lecture where we got to play with Legos.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, it's still one of my favorite.
We love it.
Because it was process improvement, wasn't it?
Yes.
And now I know how to process improve and how you map, how things go through.
I'm not going to lie. One of my favorite things about Amela here is that she gets in on the bit. She gets in on the jokes. We made a joke one time about...
I've never told this story on here.
No, the Bass Pro Pyramid and Ronaldo.
And Ronaldo.
And now he makes pretty frequent appearances in our lectures now.
So I feel like we have to tell this story.
I think we should.
So we were doing... It was a paper. We were split up into groups, and it was... record keeping job notes, like how you adjust for different changes in jobs and how you communicate that with different people.
Yes.
And there were it was like zombie, what was the
theme? It was a zombie
apocalypse?
Zombie apocalypse newspaper.
They were very like out of the box
magazine.
And there was it was such an I'm trying to think
and it was you, me, and Maggie in a group.
Yeah,
that's where
it gets a little dangerous. It was our 5 o'clock class, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it was an evening class.
It was an evening class, probably before our Taco Bell run.
Yep.
So we were not very I think we were way too into it, actually.
I think we just, it didn't have very specific, you should stay in these requirements here. So we had free reign.
Oh, for sure. So I don't even remember how this got brought up.
So we had to pick colors.
You ran out of paper.
Yep.
We ran out of paper.
And we needed specific
colors.
And we ran out of our aged paper.
Yep.
They wanted that specific type. So our options were, the logical one would have been you have your workers crumple it, maybe spill some coffee on it.
And I said, no, we're going to go to the Bass Pro Pyramid and use the aging machine.
Which, automatically ages your paper for you, obviously.
See,
save us some time.
In my brain, I was picturing the t-shirt drying conveyor belt.
Yeah.
But for paper.
And then we needed a blood red spot color.
Yes.
One of our employees happened to be Ronaldo.
Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yes.
And he is an inspiration in and of itself. I mean, that man is very smart, accomplished. Love it.
Well, and his retirement plan was to come and work for our printing company, as you do.
Yeah, and he had a little accident on the running the press.
Safety hazard.
Hazards.
He may or may not have lost a hand. But it worked in our favor.
It may have gotten sued.
Yeah,
we may
have gotten sued. We may have lost a lot of money on this job, but we had the perfect blood red color to use for our magazine.
Oh my gosh.
And now Ronaldo
it's a running
is
bit.
referenced in our lectures.
We did go to the Bass Pro
Pyramid.
And we
ended up going to the Bass Pro Pyramid. I actually didn't know it was a thing. We drove down to Texas and we stopped on our way and we got to see the Bass Pro Pyramid.
There was no aging machine,
no
sadly.
aging machine.
I was really hoping for it, but sadly it wasn't there.
I thought it was awesome when you guys emailed me a picture of you guys in front of Bass Pro.
We had to.
I was like, I have to send this to Amela.
Winter break. I'm like, oh, they actually did
it.
Yes,
we did. No, we stood outside. I go, we have to take a picture for Amela.
First thing we did was take a selfie and send it to you.
Well, I hope the next round of students that goes through that class is as creative as you guys were.
I don't know if you want them to go more creative than that. Well, since we're already having a great old time, we do have a game.
All right.
It's going to be the first time that we're going to be doing this game. It is called Print or Pass.
Yes.
So we're going to be taking some new trends within the industry and decide whether or not you should print it or if maybe the trend should be passed on. Okay, I feel like this is a good one because this one I feel like is very new. AI generated design.
Pass.
Yeah.
Pass.
Pass.
I've just seen way too many bad examples of it. You know, 5 fingers.
Yeah. It's quite obvious what's AI and what isn't, too.
It
I
is.
think
It is.
Yeah.
It very much is. It can't do a lot of things. It can't do words.
Oh, yeah.
Words are really bad.
Anything with words is, ugh.
Any like human, because like body parts are weird.
Like you said, 6 fingers
6
on
fingers
a hand.
on a hand, or
It just doesn't do details
Yeah.
very well.
no.
Yep. Yeah, so that was our first one. I'm glad, we're all on the
We're all on the same
for
page
that
there.
one. I also think it's a good thing to point out that I don't think AI is going to be replacing our designers anytime
No,
soon.
definitely not.
Because I know that's a concern that people have mentioned, and I'm not worried.
No, but I think AI will have its place in
For sure.
even in our industry. You know, you're either going to be using AI to your advantage, or you're going to be replaced with somebody who's using AI to their advantage. I think
Yeah.
that's how it's going to
Yep.
be.
100%.
For sure. All right, moving on. QR codes on everything. Everything.
Pass. You know, although I'm a fan of QR codes,
They don't replace the visual.
yeah.
I think it's good for like a direct mail campaign where you're bringing them to like a Pearl and they're getting their own thing to get like data and stuff like that. But being put on like a cereal box or like every single package now that you see them, or they're on everything now, and it's just nobody's using them. They're just not using them. They're just on everything, and it gets very overwhelming, I feel like.
I would be interesting to see if they come up with something, you know, I know there's, you know, Google Glasses and you know, that mixed reality stuff. I wonder if QR codes are going to have its place in more of those areas, where as you're walking, it brings up a video or
Right.
somehow integrated in that
Yeah.
Yes.
lens.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh, I've seen people who put QR codes on billboards. I was like, am I supposed to get my phone out and put scan a QR code off
While
a
I'm
billboard?
driving?
Like,
What?
what?
If you have a self-driving vehicle,
Okay,
maybe.
Okay,
It could be the
well,
future.
okay.
I think the printers are getting ahead of themselves with the QR on the billboard.
Yeah.
But
Maybe.
if everybody's driving, you know, or not driving, self-driving cars.
But it's
Yeah.
still illegal to have your phone
Yeah,
in
we're
your hands,
hands-free.
hands-free in Michigan. So
I do think it's interesting,
is.
too, because it's
Yes.
like QR
That's good to know.
codes. Yeah.
yeah, so it's recently illegal.
Okay.
Recently.
Well,
Yeah.
funny story. James, my husband James, was on a work trip to Canada, and he was stopped at a red light, and he pulled out his phone to check his email, and then a cop pulled up next to him and saw him at a red light checking his phone and got a ticket.
Yep. You'll get it. That's, yeah.
And the ticket made its way to our house in Michigan
Oh, wow.
from Canada.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
Yep.
crazy.
Dang.
And that one was very expensive.
Yeah.
It was not a cheap
Yeah.
ticket. They don't mess around with that over there.
No.
So, but I didn't know Michigan was kind of the same.
Yeah.
It's like recent. I think that happened in the fall or like the winter. It's very recent.
Anyways.
Anyways, I
Anyways.
digress.
Back to really quick about the QR codes. I think we've got to do something new with them.
Yes.
Because they're at the point now where they're on everything and
Yep.
people just kind of
It bogs
ignore
it down.
them.
Yep.
I think you're onto something there.
Yeah. So
Something
I don't
new
know.
needs to
We just
come
got to
up.
figure something out.
Yeah.
Something new there.
I agree. The next one that we have, and this one I feel like is really cool because this is something very new.
It's actually kind of something you brought up.
Yeah, augmented reality in print. We've seen this a couple times at trade shows where we've been able to do stuff with augmented reality, and that's been super cool. But it's not something I feel like I've seen too often, like real world.
Emmeline actually got me a sticker with it from Florida.
Oh, that's right.
People are making stickers now where you scan that code and then, like, mine has an alligator on it and he pops up and he does a little dance.
Okay. I think it will evolve. I don't want to say pass, but I don't want to say stay either. I think it's going to evolve to make it more streamlined and easier for things like that to happen.
Yeah.
So definitely, I think it'll be a growing trend.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
I think so too. I think there's some really cool things for like marketing wise that people could come up with to make it really cool. Because I feel like I've seen that also with billboards, that you can scan like a billboard and it'll do something.
Well, I even think that'd be fun on packaging. Like a perfume bottle, like if you put it on there and you scan it and it'll pull up what the bottle looks like or whatever, like something like that.
Yeah.
Like if you don't know what you're getting, scan it before you buy it.
Yeah.
I can see this growing in the gaming industry as well.
Oh, for
You know, because
Yep.
there's such hype with new games coming out,
Yeah.
but just seeing an ad doesn't drive me to make the purchase.
Yep.
But if I had an augmented reality piece pop up in front of me as I'm walking by the gaming aisle in the games,
Yeah.
there's a video of my favorite Final Fantasy character
Right. Right.
that talks to me, you know, that would really drive me to make that pre-order.
That's a good point. All right, I think we've got one more.
We have one more.
One more. 3D printing in packaging design.
In packaging design,
In packaging design.
stay.
I like it.
Mm-hmm.
3D printing in and of itself is growing. There's
Yeah.
a lot of different applications for it. My husband and I even mess around with 3D printing at our house. We have 2 3D printers.
Mm-hmm.
So with packaging, you know, as long as they can make the filament more sustainable,
Yep.
I can see it being a growing trend.
They've been
Yeah.
working on that too. Don't they have new filaments that they're working on that are like soy based or
Yeah, there's something, because I was talking to someone about that even the other day, actually.
Yeah. That would make it a lot more sustainable and something that could actually be recycled too,
Mhm.
I think is important. I think it should definitely be something that could be used, especially if it can be more sustainable for sure.
Yeah, and I think the technology needs to be a little bit, well, maybe it's just the type of 3D printers that we're using. They're not very good. They're the cheap ones.
Right.
But there's a lot of like messes that happened, or, you know, if it doesn't layer the next layer just right and you're one layer off, then the whole
Yeah.
project's kind
Has
of...
I
to be
mean,
scrapped.
My only concern,
Yeah.
too, is like the time that it would
yeah,
take
it does take a lot of time.
to print the packaging or whatever, because you would need quite a few machines to be actively producing a bunch of
Mm-hmm.
packages in one go.
Yeah.
I guess, I mean, it would be more useful for smaller packaging for sure.
Or more luxury
Yeah.
type situations too.
Yeah, I can see it being
Could
more
see.
luxury type situations, or even toy packaging.
Yeah,
Oh.
that
like
would be
kids'
fun.
toys.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of them are plastic nowadays
they are,
anyway.
yeah.
You know, plastic eggs, plastic. I want to say like, oh, do Squishmallows come in
Yes, they
plastic
do. They
packaging?
Yeah,
have little
the surprise
eggs.
ones.
Yeah,
surprise ones
yeah.
too.
So I can see that being 3D printed.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Well, I think that's going to be our episode for today. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. This has been awesome. And we're really excited that everyone, all of our loyal fans and followers can learn more about you.
Aw, thank you for having me.
Oh, we're glad.
I'm Tara.
I'm Mackenzie, and we'll see you next time on
Talk More Print.